Welcome back to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Today is January 26th. This will be released tomorrow morning on January 27th. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that has subscribed to the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. We have made over 1,000 subscribers just in the last few weeks. There's been a lot of subscribers lately. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. And if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe, pound that like, show the channel some love. We're very appreciative of it. And how am I going to show the appreciation? Well, we're going to raffle off a rod. We're not going to raffle it off, but we're going to pick a winner out of our subscribers that have subscribed already. I got it in the mail. Let's see if I can, this is the, let's see here. Oh yeah, look at that. The IRG 693, medium heavy, Lone Star Special, 6.9, 3-power, Gen 3 iRod. Thank you, Matt Newman, for coming through for us. I do a lot of stuff with iRods. I like iRods. I like the price point of iRods. All my clients are outfitted for iRods. That's what I use for my clients when I'm guiding, are iRods, spinning rods, casting rods. Their A-rig rod is fantastic. But anyway, thank you, Matt Newman, for sending us that. And Lone Star Special 6.9, short one, which is what I personally have been getting back into, 6.9, 6.10, up to 7-foot rods. And especially with the float tubing thing at El Cap, it's just, you start going in with 7.10s and 7.11s and stuff and 7.5 footers. It's just, they're kind of a lot for float tubing. So anyway, very accurate rod, and it's a great all-purpose rod. Anyway, so hold on just a second. Jen, come here. I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to be on the podcast. Since this is going to be random, I need my wife Jen to pick out a number between 1 and 1,023. And we're going to write it down here. I'm going to write it down. Hopefully you don't make it too tough on me.
Okay.
So random generation. This is my random generator. Pick a number between number 1 and 1,023.
Okay. Let's do 611.
Good Lord.
Right in the
All right.
middle.
Number 611
Yeah.
subscriber. I'm gonna have to go count that.
Sorry, I didn't have full context.
All right. So number 611. We don't know who that is yet, but I'm going to come back to you, and we're gonna figure that out. But number 611 subscriber. I can go down the list. I know where everybody's subscribed at and what date and all that good stuff, but I'm going to go down the list. I'm going to count them, number 611, and I'll come back to you, and we're going to find out who won the rod. Okay, we're back. After that big tally of subscribers for number 611, we have come up with, drum roll please, Trent at Stay Bent Trent. Congratulations, you won an iRod. I will get a hold of you. I'll send you a DM, and I'll get your address. I don't know if you're here in San Diego or not. Maybe, hopefully, and I'll be able to drop it off. Otherwise, we will go ahead. Hey, get out of there. That's my pupper. Otherwise, I will drop it in the mail and I'll send it to you. So, Trent at Stay Bent Trent, congratulations on winning that rod. Thank you everybody for subscribing. It's a big deal to attain 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Took us a while. Get out of there. That's my pupper. This is Bodie. Bodie, look at. Okay, never mind. I can't show it. Anyway, a few things for just some standard stuff as far as the podcast is concerned. Before we get into the meat of things, we have Jon Bell and Craig Taylor on tonight. Great guys, great interviewees or guests. They won last weekend at the ABA San Vicente, and they're going to tell us about that. And then we talk about some other things. I just got back from Lake Mead. My partner and I did terrible for the first Nevada ABA. We're fishing the Nevada ABA this year. First tournament didn't do well for us. We're 37th out of 52 boats. And anyway, that's enough of that. ECBT tournament, East County Bait and Tackle tournament this weekend. Lower Otay. Go into ECBT early, sign up early, and get in the raffle for the free entry for next tournament, provided by Lyle Hunter. He's doing that he's sponsoring that, Lyle Hunter Accounting, and go in there, sign up early, and get entered into that. We had last weekend the San Diego Bassmasters were out at Lower Otay for their first tournament of the year. It was a practice tournament, but congratulations to Jason Fleck of the San Diego Bassmasters. He came in with like 16.5 pounds to take first place. Cody, I can't remember Cody's last name right now, but he had a big fish of 6.5 pounds. Sounds like Otay is kind of going to kick him out for this coming weekend for the East County Bait and Tackle tournament. So that's a good thing. There's going to be some hitting going on. There's going to be some weight on Saturday. On February 5th, February 5th, Matt Lucero is coming to show up from the Department of Fish and Wildlife and do a seminar, presentation, question and answer for us, for Friends of the Lakes, Friends of the San Diego Lakes, and San Diego Bassmasters are coming together and bringing that to you guys, open to the public. It's going to be on the 5th of February. Doors open at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock or 6:15. Anyway, Adult Enrichment Center at San Diego. You can take a screenshot of this right here. And that will be the flyer for it. If anybody, I guess I'm doing jigs and A-rigs now. So and I'm trying to get them out as fast as I can. I know some of them have been slow getting to some of the orders. If anybody wants any jigs or A-rigs, DM me or text me. 619-753-0773. I answer texts best for sure. Also, if I'm going to start promoting my guide business on here, if you guys want a guide, I guide local lakes and I can put you down. My website isn't up right now, but it's basically $450 a day. Starts at 6 hours. We can go San Vicente or Lower Otay, maybe Sutherland if we get any water. I mean, we go maybe Cap too. If we get water, we can launch a boat. But right now it's just Lower Otay, Lower Otay, San Vicente, Murray. We could maybe do Miramar, but pretty much Lower Otay, San Vicente. at this point. Those are the two lakes that are allowing that the launch ramp is open. If you guys want me to take you out for a guided day on one of those lakes, we'll go out there and catch a bunch of fish and have a good time. And my calendar is open at this point, so please get a hold of me if you want any jigs. I've been pouring some jigs and twisting up some A-rigs, and I can also do that for you guys if you want. Thank you for showing up to the podcast again. We will get on to our interview. Thanks.
What's going on, guys?
Here we are again.
Let me see. Let me adjust myself here. There we go. You can see me.
We got you. What's up, buddy?
What's up, dude?
Not too much. Just glad to be here. Thank you for having us, Bruce.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. I'm glad you called, John. I was, so the plan was I was just going to have Craig come on and talk and give me like a lake by lake report. But this is all the better. Now I'll get you guys both in an interview. So that's cool. That's awesome.
We've been looking forward to one of these for a long time. So
Oh, good.
Yeah. I think this will be fun. I feel like I always forget stuff or don't talk about things. I need prompting. I need help. So got John here.
Oh yeah. The more the merrier. It goes so much easier with more than just two people.
totally.
I bet.
Yeah, there's some guests that are just like one word answers, and you're like, okay, I guess we're going to the next question.
I don't think you're going to have that problem with John.
I guess I'll change up my strategy. I'll have like 2 words this time.
Yeah. Some people will know something definitely weird is going on if he's not talking.
That's right.
Yeah.
Love you, buddy.
Love you too, man.
Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready when you are.
I guess. I mean,
Yeah.
welcome back to San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast. Tonight we have John Bell and Craig Taylor, the winners of last weekend's San Vicente ABA tournament, and you guys did a resounding job of stomping on the competition by what, 3 or 4 pounds?
Almost 4 pounds. Yeah, it was a magical day. Let's just put it that way. It was so fun.
It doesn't seem like that much weight, like that big of a margin until you like kind of do the math on like what's been winning out there, and 10 pounds is like a big bag out there right now. So like catching a fish over 2 pounds hasn't been easy. It really
You
hasn't.
had a legit limit, like what was it, 14 and high 14s?
I forget. I think it was 1422.
1422. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were holding those fish up. They looked like an Otay stringer or a cap, like a top 10 cap kind of thing. So, dude, congratulations.
Thank
So
you.
it kind of goes with what has been going on with Craig lately, and just smoking them out at San V. I see all these posts. Craig's like, one, got another one, got another one, got another one, and nobody else is doing this at San V. So he really lived up to the hype.
No, he definitely found him. He was on him, and he was telling me, he's like, dude, I found a school. If they bite, we're gonna catch them. And so we kind of changed up the game plan in the morning, and we're like, let's throw heavy stuff at him. And we got in there, and he had shown me the pictures of the live and the school, and he's like, they're gonna be here, or they're gonna be here. And we got there, and it was game on from like the second we stopped the boat. And a really good team was going right past the spot, and we're like, oh, are they gonna stop? And they kept going, and it was I think the first 25 minutes we had all the weight, and it was every single cast. It was so fun.
Yeah, it was just a magical morning where everything worked out. I was like, pulled out the rods in the morning. I'm like, I just put 2 rods on the deck, said, look, we're doing this. We're gonna go big or go home right now. And it worked. I mean, it was on a point that some fish that I'd found, and they'd kind of been moving to one side of it or the other. It just depended. There's like one side had a tree, the other side had, I don't know, how would you describe, John? It's almost like a landslide happened, like a bunch of timber or something fell into a hole on a very sharp, hard edge. So
Yeah.
there's kind of like this quagmire of sticks and brush and rock in one side, and then the other side was just a tree. So it was kind of like, if we're going to get these things out of here, we're going to have to go with the big stuff. And that's what we did. Luckily.
Okay.
So
I
I
think
was
John broke off the first bite, actually. I think John broke one off, like, I mean, like 10 seconds into the day. He was trying to find his line, and he's like, "Oh, there's one on there." Broke it off.
It's all
well,
dark.
so I was using Craig's tackle, and like I wasn't used to it, so we pulled up and I fired up. I'm like, oh, that looks like a good cast. I'll cast in there, and still dark out, and it's cold out, and I was like trying to find my line, and all of a sudden it was just swimming into a tree, and I swung, and it was a heavy one, and I was like, oh, and then it just broke off, and I was like, oh no. So since Greg was so kind to let me use his stuff, I'm looking, I'm like, dude, where's the weights? Where's the hooks? Like I just kind of pieced it together, and I was like, all right. So I tie a new bait on and fired out, and I got like a 2.5 pounder, and knowing how Sandy was fishing at that point, I'm like, okay, 2.5 pounder, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And so we put it in the live well, and we're not, weighing at that point. I'm like, I don't know how today's gonna go, and fire back out, and I swing, and I'm like, man, that feels like a heavy one. And I thought it came off, but the drag slipped, and I wasn't used to the setup yet. So it comes up and jumps, and it tournament morning, you're like, that's a 5 pounder. That's a big one. It was 389 is what it ended up weighing.
Yeah.
But like when you're looking at 1.5 pounders, it was a giant, it was like, oh my
Right.
gosh.
Yeah,
And Craig's
3.5
like,
pounder there right now is a 5 pounder anywhere else. Right now, it's
Yeah.
finding that quality fish just wasn't. They're all healthy too. They're all like nice, fat, healthy fish. So
yeah,
we
definitely.
definitely found the right ones for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You did, not me.
Yeah,
No,
it was a pretty special spot for sure.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you this question, but I already know that you posted it online. So I guess it would be okay to ask, but it looks like you were using some kind of a missile bait. What were you using? What was the hot ticket?
Well, I got them right here.
Oh, I just happened to have one right there.
Yeah, that's it right there. The missile baits, the chunky B. So
Yeah.
just this on a free rig.
Yeah.
Nothing too special. I think we were fishing quarter ounce. We were
Yeah,
fishing lighter
quarter
ones because we were fishing shallow. That was another thing that was weird about these fish, is that they were shallower than what I have been catching out there.
Right.
Because I mean, I had like 3 or 4 spots that I was like, we're gonna go catch fish for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this spot was just special. When I found that school, I was like, these are the ones we need to be on.
Right.
And they were shallower. They were in like that, what, 12 to 15,
Jeez.
18 feet, probably.
I would
That
say,
is
yeah.
that is
especially
so
in the morning.
different than everything that I've heard of. I keep hearing 30, 40, 50 feet out there,
Oh yeah, there's all you want in 45 feet right now. All
Right.
you want. You can catch
Yeah.
them all day, but they just weren't the right ones. But I still think, honestly, with what I had going on out there and that deeper stuff, I think we could have gotten 12, 13 pounds out of that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
But
definitely moved out too. Like after the morning
mhm.
chaos, they moved out, and then we followed them out deeper, and we ended up not moving the entire day, but we would move up and down the spot, and then like the deeper we fished and the slower we fished after that morning chaos was over, it was like we still caught them. We called 2 times, but after the first 25 minutes, the scale said 1370, and we're like, it's been taking like 9 to maybe 12 pounds to win. And so
Yeah.
we're like, let's not leave. We camped out. It was one of those where we didn't want somebody else to give them a different look, and we still
Yeah.
caught them. So, I mean, it's just fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, we were able to just kind of run up I don't know, about 40-yard stretch of bank, and there's a little cove, and we'd go fishing there for a little bit, but we were constantly just guarding the spot. You know, there's a couple guys that were, I think they were just like weekend anglers, and they kind of were puttering down, and, you know, they fished through, and, you know, we just let them go by. We didn't care, but, you know, we were still watching our spot as
Sure.
much as possible. And, you know, we were just picking off fish after a while. I mean, we were still catching. It was pretty steady action out there in the deep water. We're still catching a bunch, but they just weren't the same class. Like, I think you got that one later in the day that cold our small one.
Yeah, it was like a 220 something. Because we had one under 2, and we're like, oh, we need one more over 2 for this to be done.
Uh-huh.
And like, granted, yeah, we already had it at that point, but you don't know. I mean, you tournament fish, Bruce, and until you have something so significant. And what I think is so special about that particular tournament is we didn't have a rogue 9-pounder. It was, you know, we had 2 in the 3s, and like everything else, like we're like, we want one over 2 after this. And it was just, when we went in, and everybody's like, we had 2 teams that watched it happen, and they're like, dude, one of the guys, he's like, after the first 10 minutes, we just turned and left. Like, we couldn't watch it happen anymore. They're like doubles, there's fish flopping on the boat. Like, it was so, and for us, like, we're laughing, having a good time, but it's like, we've been in the situation where you watch somebody else do that, and it's hard to see. But it was, you know, the stars aligned, and it was such a just fun experience. Like, I'll never forget that, ever.
Absolutely, one of the worst things that has ever happened to me is watching somebody else just crush them, and you can't catch them, whether it be sea bass or tuna fishing on the North Ridge at Alejos Rocks, watching Roy Rose on the Royal Polaris just keep fucking 10 going, you know, like, and you're just not even catching anything. Like, it's
Rolling
just
up,
absolutely the worst.
rolling up the night before and seeing all the lights on all the alpha spots, and you're like, well, hopefully somebody's going home. Hopefully someone's going home today.
Yeah. So we could slide in there, shoehorn our way in there, and maybe
exactly.
catch a few.
Yeah.
Well, it's worse on the sport boats too, because you have all the eyes watching. Like, they see the, you know, the blood out of the scuppers, and they're like, well, can we go over there? And you're like, we can't. It's, you know, it's a game of chess. Like, I wish we could, but no.
This is as close as we can get.
Yep.
We're already there. We're already there.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we've been on that side of the coin enough times too, so it's it feels good when you're on the right side of it, but being on the other side, we know that feeling well. So we enjoyed being on the right side of it for sure. It was fun.
I kind of got in on some of that at Mead. Mead was, man, this last weekend for me and Dennis at Mead, it was slow. It was very tough. It's the first time I'd been there. And
I can't even imagine. I mean, it must have been cold out there
oh my God.
It's been freezing here. Like, we were pre-fishing Otay yesterday morning, and we about died. Like, it's the coldest morning I've been in a long time, and we were not happy.
So I'm not a backseat angler, right? I'm not a passenger. I'm normally the guy behind the wheel. Well, Craig already knows. So I get this passenger seat this time. Well, Dennis has a tournament boat, single console, whatever. Dennis is a fast driver. Like, he goes fast every spot. Mead is not small. It is a big lake. And so it's 68 miles an hour in 35-degree weather and for an hour, for 45 minutes. Like, I'm just like, I've got every piece of clothes on that I have, and I'm still cold, right? Thank God my wife got me a pair of goggles and a face mask for Christmas. That was this lifesaver.
Ask John what I was doing yesterday morning when we were driving to the back of Harvey's. Like, that was like a 2-minute drive, and I was over it. I was done because John was driving. So I had my hood over my hat. I've got one of those AFCO Reapers with the little turtleneck thing that pulls over your face. I had that, my puffy jacket tucked over, completely covered my head. I didn't see where we were going. I was just bundled in a little container while he took us wherever. I was like, I don't know, just take us somewhere. I don't know where we're going, but and I was frozen. That was 2 minutes and I was done. Like I couldn't tie a knot or do anything for at least 15 minutes when we got back. So I feel your pain. Well, I don't feel your pain, but I understand. That must
If
have
they were
sucked.
biting, it would have been okay. But when we got there, they were not biting. So it was a pretty. It was so cold.
Same for me. We ran around Lake Mead for 3 days and we caught 7 fish for 3 days. Like it was, and we tried. It wasn't like we were shaking them off. It was like we were trying to catch them, especially obviously on tournament day. But yeah, I know. And we ran away from them. So we found that fish. We found the guys that were in second place. We found that fish. You know, they were there. They came in behind us. We went back into this. It was an Overton arm, and we went back in there and we were flipping around and we caught a couple. You know, who would have thought that you're going to be throwing a spinner bait in 52-degree water in cold, muddy water, a spinner bait, but that's what it was. And we caught 2 of them, and then we talked ourselves out of it because we had caught a couple of more fish, like on the other end of the lake, and they were bigger. And then that's where we started. We didn't start in that cold, muddy water, but we should have. Yeah, we should have. But anyway,
one thing I watched. Go ahead.
Learning experience.
Yeah. One thing I watched, it was like not a Bassmaster Classic, but like the elites, and they were in the Midwest somewhere, and the guy was like, the water's 55, I'm gonna throw a buzzbait. And I laughed. And he won. And I was like, how is that real? Because at home, if the water's 55, I'm not throwing a buzzbait. There's no way.
Oh, we've been laughing about that for like 2 weeks. The same scenario that you're just talking about. Buzzbait in 55-degree water, like Jacob Wheeler. Like, when do you start throwing a buzzbait? Oh, like 55?
Yep.
Huh?
Yeah, but those bass, that's warmer for them because those bass, they've been conditioned to get used to like 40-degree water.
Yeah.
So 52 is like, that's a big difference. That's like 65 to 67 degrees for us.
Right.
So those fish are like, hey man, it's just like Andy at the shop, you know, the guy wears shorts every day of his life when it's freezing out there because he's from Colorado and he just doesn't get cold. Apparently he's used to it.
Right.
For me, us California guys, nope. I don't think I'll ever get used to cold weather at all. So
no, I agree. Especially not yesterday. That was so cold.
That was miserable. It was horrible. And it's like you get back there and you got that east wind was just blowing through there, you know, steady 10 to 12 knots. And it was just biting cold. It just got through everything.
Yeah.
You know, we had our bibs on, puffy jackets, sweatshirts. It didn't matter. We're so cold.
Okay. So what do you guys do in that scenario? I mean, we're learning here. This is the San Diego Bass Fishing Podcast, and you're in a cold scenario in San Diego. How do you guys adjust to that?
Complain.
Yeah, we complain back and forth so that we can get through it together.
Hold hands.
Yeah, we cuddle. We cuddle in the rod locker.
What I would say, honestly, that's kind of a good question, Bruce. Not kind of, it's a very good question. So the scenario came up years ago at Cap, and I knew for a fact, and Craig knew too, that like you can't fish effectively with the bait caster. So we upped our spinning rod game because it's a different way to turn the handle. And when we were fishing, it was the dam arm at Cap. I would never throw a jig on a spinning rod. But when it was that cold in the wintertime, I upped my line size and we would throw jigs on spinning rods. because when you got a bite, you could set the hook, and even though your hands aren't working, you could sit there and wrench on those fish and turn the handle, like grabbing the entire spinning reel handle with your hand, and it made a difference. And we actually did things like that to kind of overcome the cold, and it made a big difference for us.
Yeah.
It's, changing your technique, and like, yeah, we use hand warmers and stuff like that, but as you know, like if your hands are numb, it's almost painful to put pressure on them in any other way. And the other thing too with the spinning reels is that you don't have to worry when you cast. Like, you're eliminating that situation, because if you
Right.
can't feel your thumb, you're not going to be able to make a good cast. You're going to get a backlash, and you're going to be trying to pick it out with frozen fingers.
Yeah.
So like that is something I would say that we definitely did, and it made a difference. And we didn't win per se, but it was a way that we could effectively fish, because if you're not fishing effectively, you're not in it at that point, because a lot of
Right.
times, even
Yeah.
though it's 35 degrees outside, the fish are biting from 7 a.m. to 7:30 or 8 o'clock, and you have to capitalize on that bite.
Yeah. I've always
And-
preached. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh,
Craig.
no, I was just going to say it's funny that he says that, because that's exactly what happened to me yesterday. I went to fire an A-rig out with braided line. My hands were frozen. The line was not wet, and I was just like, "Oh, I'm just going to send one out there." And sure enough, I backlashed, and I couldn't get the backlash out. My fingers wouldn't close around the little knots. I just couldn't get it out. So I just reeled back over the backlash and threw the rod down, and I didn't deal with it for another, what was it, like 45 minutes later, when the wind died and it was a little warmer. I was like, okay, now I'll get to this. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
Know your limits.
I've
Yeah.
always, doing as much time up north on the trout fishing, and John knows this, is I've always preached that you need to have the right equipment as far as clothing goes to take your mind off the cold and be comfortable and to keep fishing. Because if you're not, if you're worried about being cold, then you're not fishing. You're not.
100%.
Yeah,
And
you're worried
you
about being
actually-
cold. You're not worried about if the fish are biting. You're worried about getting comfortable and being warm.
And
So-
you actually end up really hurting yourself, I think, because I know me personally, when I'm cold, I
Mhm.
fish fast, too fast.
Oh yeah.
And when
you
it's
can't slow
cold,
down. Yeah.
you're supposed to be going slow. And then when you're just uncomfortable, it's just like if you gotta take a leak, right? You gotta pee. You're antsy. You're moving around. You're doing stuff you
Yep.
shouldn't be doing. You're not
Yep.
focusing. And
Yep.
dead of winter, those bites always come when you're just slack line. You're just doing nothing. You're looking over here. You're talking. You're scratching something. It's always when you're not paying attention. So, and it's probably because you're subconsciously, you've just slowed your presentation down. It's not because
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention. It's just, I'm just not moving. Just
Yeah.
let it sit there.
Yeah.
They'll find it, and that's another lesson. So like, yeah, comfort is a big thing. That's why I wear about 15 layers this time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what's funny too about, and I guarantee anybody listening is going to understand this, is you finally slow down, your jig, your worm, whatever it is sitting there, and you get a bite, and then your adrenaline goes up. And so next cast, you're like working it, thinking you're going to get a bite.
I was just gonna
And you're
say
like,
the same
oh,
thing.
here we go. Like they're biting now. And it's like, I disassociate with the fact that my bait was sitting there on a rock for 30 or 40 seconds, and then I got a bite. I just think like, okay, they're biting now. I'm going to fire back out. I'm going to get that same rock. I'm going to get a bite. Like, it's happening. And you have to calm yourself down, and you have to understand that those fish are not trying to find something that's moving like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where those jig and crawdad guys really have it. Like they get it. Like they don't speed up. They get a bite and they're
Yeah.
still slow.
Yeah.
That's right.
Randy and Randy and
And Randy.
Nicholson and all those, all the
That's-
guys. They don't get all jacked up when they get a bite.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
hard, man.
how many times have you heard Randy preach that? Just, he's I've talked to other people that have fished with him that have said, he's always on me about slowing down because I'm fishing
Yeah.
too fast. Like that's
Yeah.
Randy's deal. He's slow down, slow
Yeah.
down. And that's a hard thing as you know, guiding too, is when you have clients, a lot of my day is just telling people to slow down. A
Oh,
lot of it.
absolutely. Totally. You got to slow down. You got to slow
Yep.
down. This is not Texas. This is not anywhere. This is, you got to let them come up to the bait and eat it. Yeah. Slow
Yeah,
down. Just stop.
and a
Just
lot
stop.
lot too with like things like that we're figuring out with forward facing and being able to like watch the environment down there. How many times have you cast something, you've watched your worm or jig or whatever go down and just things just scatter away from it?
Mm-hmm.
They see
Mm-hmm.
like something's intruding on their spot and they kind of leave that spot. So, but they're bass, they're curious, they come back eventually. And I think you get a better response when they come up to find something instead of something coming to them.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's the like the US Open, you know, and those fish in 30, 40 feet or whatever, and they're throwing their drop shots out there and just letting and not touching them for a
Mhm.
Yep.
long time. Those because those fish, they know that it's there. You don't have to sit there and jiggle and shake that worm. They know it's there. And
yeah, oh,
they come up and they look at it and then they swim away and then they come up and then they eat it, you know, the
Yep.
second or even third pass or whatever. But
yeah, I think those bass with forward facing, especially and fishing jig head minnow, I think they always know. They always know. They always see it. They know it's there. It's whether or not they want to get it. Because I've had fish in murky water, hear that splash, that thing's falling, and they're coming from 20 feet down to intercept it
in dirty
in
water.
dirty water.
Yeah.
So I'm fully, I fully think that they know no matter what, that there's something there. And it's, you know, sometimes you're like, well, you got to get it right on their head because they don't see it. I don't think it's that. I think they see it. They know. It's just they
Yep.
just don't want to put that effort into going up to get it unless they're really in that mood,
Right.
you know.
Right.
One thing I learned a long time ago. So I used to go up to Lake Ramona a lot as a kid, and it was with Kevin Norling, and we always went up there, and we'd get dropped off and hike around or hike up from Blue Sky Reserve and hike around the lake and fish. And one day I was gonna eat my sandwich, and I cast out, hit the bottom, set my rod down, and I was eating my sandwich, and maybe 7 or 8 minutes later, my rod almost got taken into the lake, and I was like, that worm wasn't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't move it. I did nothing, and they ate it, and it turned into one of those bites where when it was slow, you'd cast out there and you'd set your rod down and just let it happen. Because unbeknownst to what we see, like we think something has to be moving to get bit, but there's current down there. There's the water changes depending on what the moon's doing, you know, and those fish would eat it after that amount of time. And it wasn't like they had sat there and choked on it for that 7 or 8 minutes. They had decided to go look at it. Maybe you're the tip of the worm sitting up off the bottom, the water moves a tiny bit, and they would eat it. And it was one of those things that it was like fishing bait, but you're fishing a plastic worm.
Right. Right.
So to me, that's kind of it was eye opening, and I still struggle with it. But I mean, there's a lot more that happens down below the surface than I think any of us really realize. You know, guys figured out like Randy, where he's like, find a rock, let your jig sit, and boom, he weighs in 28 pounds in a tournament. And it's like, it's really hard to step back. You want that thing to look natural, be moving, be doing whatever you want it to look like down there, but maybe that's not what the fish want. And I think that's kind of that's a big learning curve. And I think we could all take more from that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard even with all the experience that we have doing that, because like John and I talk about this all the time. We're structure guys. We'd rather fish a worm or something like that than anything. You know, yeah, catching them on a crank is fun. Spinner baits, that's awesome. Topwater, amazing. But in our heart, we like fishing structure. We like dragging a worm or a jig or something like that. And even knowing that we need to probably be fishing a lot slower than we always are. We always speed it up. We still fall victim to that same thing where we're fishing way too fast,
Yeah.
you know? So just because someone that's listening to this might be newer to bass fishing or something, don't think that guys like us don't make those same stupid mistakes all the time. Like,
Yeah.
and that's like I said, the hugest part of guiding with me has been looking on the outside, looking at these guys and saying, you're going way too fast.
Mm.
Slow down. Like, and you know, like that's something that we need to remember all the time. Like, just slow down. Slow down. I think
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing that we all can always remember and learn from.
It's the truth. And I did one of the juniors, and I wish I had the chance to do more, but it was the same thing with the kids because
Oh,
they're
the kids are
fired up.
terrible. The kids are the worst. Oh man.
And you're like, all right. And so I had the one that I did, I had messaged Sean, and I was like, hey, can I make a cast? I didn't know really the rules, and I was like, all right. So I just cast out and let it sit, and I got a couple bites, but the kids, they respond well to it because they're like, okay, because like a lot of it was cast a drop shot out in 30 feet, hits the bottom, wind it in, and at San V especially too, you get a lot of bites on the sink, or right when it hits the bottom, but it's, as a kid, we all want to chuck and wind, but learning the San Diego lakes and understanding how the fish operate and doing all that, it's a pretty big learning curve. And it was hard with the kids because you just, you're like, oh, you could get a bite. They're loaded right here, especially with live imaging. Like you look at the
Yeah.
live and there's fish swimming around everywhere and you're like, oh, I'm going to get a bite. But like there could be 100 of them and you still won't get bit unless you present the bait how they want to eat it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I hear about that all the time. People moving here. There's two guys on San Diego bass fishing right now. Just like, what am I doing wrong? I've gone out so many times. I'm from Texas. I'm from Michigan. And I catch them good in Texas. And I've got here and I've been out 6 times. I've been here 3 months. I haven't caught a fish. And it's
yeah,
like, well, it's different. it's you got to slow down. You got a small fish, pare it down. You got to get smaller. You got to go. But the big thing is going slow. That's
yeah,
the big thing.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
And like line size too. I mean, we deal with probably the most pressured fish in the country. And it's one thing that I don't think necessarily it's always the fact that the fish can see the line, but it's how the bait is presented, right? Because if you're shaking a worm on 16-pound or 7-pound, regardless of the size, it's going to move differently depending on the line size. You have less
Mhm.
stretch, you have less, line in the water. I think that that's a big thing that people do miss out on too, is the fact that if they're going to fish heavy or fish fast, like you'll fish slower no matter what on light line. I think that that's just a guaranteed thing. You have more stretch going on. You have not the contact you have with the bait, lighter weights too. You learn how to fish a bait slower accidentally. And I think that that's something that Craig and I have really tried to capitalize on and tried to, we feed off each other. We'll fish lighter and lighter and lighter. And there's a point where it's too light, but we have learned how to adapt to it. And if you're just coming out here and trying for the first time, it's going to be what you're used to in Texas or Oklahoma is going to be way different than what you fish here, because
Right.
there, like you're looking for a drop off that goes from 5 feet to 6 feet. And here it's like we're fishing a lot of 30, 40, 50 feet, even at cap when it was biting, or when it was open, excuse me. But like a lot of times your bait's going to be moving totally differently, dependent on what depth that you're actually fishing. So
Yeah. Yeah. The lighter weight, that was a very good uh that was a very good observation because I've in my jig fishing this year, so I'm trying to fish jigs a lot. And
mm,
going I've been throwing this jig that's not exactly a 3/8. It's actually a 16th under a 3/8. It's like whatever. So it's not as heavy as the standard football 3/8 football. And in doing so, that little bit lighter of a jig, it makes me fish so much slower to maintain bottom contact.
Yep.
And because otherwise you're just obviously you're just blowing it out and just kind of skimming it over, and you just got to crawl it to keep it on the bottom, with that lighter weight. So that
Well,
that was that was a learning curve too, just with the jig fishing this year.
well, and you've noticed, I'm sure, a huge difference in what you dredge up from the bottom, right? Like whether it be grass or if there's a little bit of nonsense on the bottom, like with a little bit lighter, even though it's a 16th lighter,
Mhm.
you're not gonna have the grass as bad, or you're gonna be
Oh
able to
yeah,
pop out of it just a little bit better, right? Like that's
yeah,
a
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
fish it a lot cleaner, and that's
yep,
why I think a lot of times we can get away with lighter line at places like San V because our baits aren't getting as deep into that brush to where it's becoming a
Hmm.
problem.
Hmm.
It's getting
So
there,
yep,
it's getting in their face, but it's staying up on the tops of those branches and maybe just a little down instead of punching core shot right into the middle of that thing. And sure, there's fish there, but the fish they're aware of everything. If they see something shaking up in the tree up there, they'll go up and look at it and they'll eat it off a branch. So you don't need to be right in the middle of that brush pile to get those bites.
right.
And because how many heartbreaks have we had in the middle of those brush piles when we're fishing in 30 to 50 feet and you're in there and you just know you're like, dude, I am in the thick of it. I can barely work my worm. And then all of a sudden, then it's like, boom. And you're like,
uh,
Hail Mary, and
yeah.
either it's going to be instant heartbreak or you're going to get lucky and it's going to swim out.
Yeah,
Mostly instant heartbreak.
Usually
You're like,
usually
oh,
it
I
goes
don't
that
even
way.
want to swing right now.
I
But
know. And the level that it's at right now too, San Vicente, there was so much quagga, and the last time Jim and I fished there, it was like we were on a point, and you'd get the bite and go to set, and you wouldn't even come tight, and it was just whiff, it was just
yep.
break off, quagga muscle, quagga muscle, quagga muscle, like oh my god, this is
Well,
crazy.
I'm sure you've noticed too, Bruce. Like there's days at CNB where they eat it before it gets in there, and there's days when you have to shake it in there
Mhm.
to get bit.
Yeah.
And those Craig and I have had so many days where I don't know how much money we have left in that lake, but where you have to be deep down in there. But I think on the flip side, on the days when they are down in there with the lighter line, lighter weights, they come out and eat it a little bit. Like you have a chance to actually get them out of it and they might
Mm.
turn their head and come up. Because we all know that if a bass eats something, it's going to dig deeper.
Yeah.
But it's on days like that, you do have to swing earlier. You have to, pull as hard as you can with what you're fishing with. And a lot of times you get lucky and you do get those fish out of that heavy, heavy cover.
Okay, so speaking of which, have you had any instances, or do you set the hook and then not necessarily pull on them and maybe try to swim them out of a tree? Have you
We
ever done
have,
that?
we have, and I'd say it's a 50-50 shot at that point.
Yeah,
You
right.
could get them out, but like, generally, especially with that lighter line that we've been talking about, like you swing and you're like, oh, I gotta like turn their head out, and then they're just gone. And I think that would be a good thing to practice, like to go out there when they are deep in the stuff like that and
Yeah,
try to get the hook set and then let them be calm. It
right.
it plays into this old Japanese guy on the Vagabond taught me that when you hook a big tuna, and I know this is kind of off the topic, but this guy would have his drag set at like 14, 15 pounds, and he would let them run, let them take all the line they wanted. And when they got up and down, he would button the drag up to like 35, 40 pounds, and he would land them. And that guy landed, I watched him land probably 15 tuna over 200 pounds.
Uh,
And the guys that fight with those fish directly, like where you just set the hook, you're at 40 pounds and you're pulling on it as hard as you can. those fish want to fight back. So I think that would be a thing that, like, if you kind of leave it at that, where you like get the hook in them, let them settle back in, and then you could probably work them out of the trees and sticks and whatever structure they're in
Yeah.
quite a bit easier. And that guy, I mean, I'd watch him time and time again, just get these giant tuna to come to the boat without using like force or anything like that. He would let them settle in and then get them back to the boat, and quicker than anybody else could.
Mm.
How many times have you been pre-fishing and you're trying to shake a fish and just swim right out of whatever you were in, and they swim right up to the surface and they're doing laps around?
Yep.
They won't let it go. Let go.
Right.
Yeah.
In a tournament, though, you're like, I'm gonna swing. I'm gonna cross its eyes. I'm gonna get that thing to the boat right now. And I think that Craig, that's a good point. Like, if you just got bit and kept a little pressure and got him out of there, you might be able to, swing on him in open water instead of deep down in a 15-foot tree at San B.
Yeah, it's something to think about. I've heard of people doing that,
Mm-hmm.
So I was just wondering if you had what your opinions on that was.
But then though, what if they're eating it and just swimming you even deeper into the stuff? It's like
Yeah.
I don't know that there's really a real answer to that. I think it's just whatever that fish is doing at the time. If you knew, if you had an idea, like, oh, that fish is swimming deeper into the stuff, sure. If you can feel it, if you can feel your line scraping and getting into that stuff, like we all know that feeling at San V when you feel the quaggas on the sticks just clamping shut on your line and scratching. Yeah.
Bruce,
Yeah.
tell us about that tournament you and Jim had, where you guys were in the back of I won't mention the cove, but where you guys, I think you won, but you guys lost way more big ones in that big tree.
Oh, well, no, we got third that tournament. That was the first time we got a third. And we got a third with 22 pounds. like, man, yeah, we lost a number of them. It was all in this out of one tree, just like kind of what you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
And I got 2 6s out of that tree that day. And then we got most of our limit. I think we got 4 fish that we weighed in out of that one tree in the morning. But yeah, we would, yeah, and they would eat it off the branches. We were fishing a Dick rig or Nico rig. I was fishing 16-pound that day with a 7-inch worm. And you just cast it in there. You knew the tree was down there. It had 2 sticks that were up above the water, but the whole tree, you can see it now. It's all the way out of the water, and you can see how massive the tree is. And you just throw the thing over, and you just work it over the top through the branches, and they would just eat it off the branches. And I don't even know how I got those fish. The first 6-pounder came up, like I hooked it, and it came up and shot to the surface. So that's how we got that one. And then the second one later that morning, that one like buried into the tree, and we kind of had to go get it, but it came out.
Yeah.
And then Jim, he lost a great big one, at least a 6 or a 7, and it just, he just hooked it, and it just and it hung up, came off, but it was still in the tree. And then he got in the tree again, and we took the boat over and looked at straight down. And it was just like out of net range, and and we couldn't do anything. It was there, and so we pulled on it, and it broke off. But
we know that feeling very well.
we caught a bunch of fish out of that tree. That was a pretty spectacular day. That was the day Kevin beat us because he had a 10-pounder.
Oh yeah.
Kevin had a 10 that day. He was over in Verona, but we were in a different cove and whatever. But yeah, that was pretty spectacular. That was tree fishing. We just tried to pull them out the best we could.
Yeah.
Both of us. That was like our third tournament. We had just started 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 6 years ago. 2019, 7 years ago.
Doesn't seem like that long,
7 years ago. Yeah.
Doesn't
No, I
seem like.
remember, and I was like, oh, these guys. That was pretty.
Sometimes you get lucky.
No, you guys do good. You fish good.
So yeah, we're. Are you guys fishing this weekend?
We are.
Yeah.
Okay. Jim
Yeah.
was
We're
supposed
gonna.
to. Jim's supposed to, but he's still. He had his foot operated on,
Yeah.
and
He's.
so he'll be out this one.
Are you gonna solo it?
Yeah, yeah. I'll be by myself.
We'll stay up our
Yeah.
stuff.
I think it's gonna take some weight out there. I think
I
it's gonna
think
take.
so. From what I heard, I haven't been out there in a couple weeks, but I know people that have been out there and they're catching fish. So yeah, it's gonna take some weight.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
It'll be
so.
interesting.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think the population is there. It's just a matter of getting them to bite. Craig and I stared at so many fish yesterday for almost nothing, but
Yeah.
I think if you find that one area, it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, there's definitely some meat out there. You see some big ones swimming around on the live, and you're like, wow, that's a large
Mm.
that's a large fish. You know,
Mm.
and they'll follow a bait, they'll look at it, but just getting
Yeah.
them, you can't get them to commit. So, but they're there.
I wonder if those kids are gonna be out there. I'm sure they are.
I'm sure.
I don't know.
Guaranteed.
I don't know how many pre-signups they have so far. It was kind of slow right there in the first couple of days when they opened up the signups at East County Bait and Tackle for early sign up. But I bet we have close to 40
Oh, wow.
boats. You know, I was guessing 35, but I bet it's closer to 40. You know, you think?
Yeah.
I think so. I mean, people have been looking forward to it, and it's
Thank
the
God we're not going to
Otay
San
at
Vicente.
least. I think San Vicente probably wouldn't draw that right now,
No, no.
but
And
Otay
everybody
would all.
knows, they caught that 15-pounder. It's got a little bit of press. There's been a little bit of some good fish caught, and it's been fishing not bad overall. You
Yeah.
know, like for a few months. There's been
Well,
some hitting. There's been some hitting going on.
stable
And then
weather too. I think that's going to be a big factor. Stable weather. We went yesterday. It was kind of not frontal. I mean, we had a little bit
yeah,
of rain, but I feel
yeah,
like once it stabilizes, those fish, they're getting in the mood to do what they're going to do, and I
right.
think it could be.
Then there's that.
They're healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, the fish are all really, really good looking. They're not all skinny and skanky like they were at the end, like
Yeah,
this fall and summer. Those fish were, man, there were some zombies. I was catching
yeah,
some that were like pretty rough looking, like San V opener looking bass, sunken in
right.
eyes, and just you could see the rib cage and everything. And these
Yeah,
fish, what we caught yesterday, we didn't catch any big ones, but we caught good quality. Like they were all good quality. They were all
yeah,
healthy.
yeah,
So
yeah. When I was there a few weeks ago, I had a client out, and everything we caught, but it was different back then. But everything we caught, it was super fat, very
Yeah.
healthy, very. I couldn't believe how fat they were. So yeah, yeah, the fish are looking good right now.
yeah.
I was kind of worried the last night tournament last year. There's so many. We'll call them. They should have been 5-pounders, but they were 3.
Yeah,
And it was kind of concerning. I mean, Craig and I talked a lot about it, but it was like, where's the lake
just
going to go? And I was very surprised yesterday with the ones we caught, like what health
yeah,
level they were in at that point.
uh-huh,
It's good to see because a lake can go one of two ways.
yeah,
And if it would have gone on that trajectory, I think it would have been kind of a detriment. But to see them the way they are right now, it's a positive thing. So.
mm,
Yeah, and
yeah,
even if it was due to some of those real nasty ones dying off, then oh well. I mean, because that's just more food for the other ones to thrive. So I mean, just like what we
yeah.
always talk about, San V, it needs thousands of pounds of those 1 to 2 pounders taken out of there. That place is just it's littered. It's
There's just
corroded.
not the, yeah, it just seems like there's just not the food source per acre for those
Yeah.
fish. It seems at this point they need to thin out.
Especially when they're on
Yeah,
silver
whatever.
sides. I mean,
know, right.
those silver sides, there's no sustenance for them. There's,
No.
what,
They-
like 1 3-inch shad is like 8 silver sides, probably.
Yeah,
So they need to
and
eat so much more and chase so much more to get the same amount of nutrition
Mm-hmm.
than 1 or 2 shad. It's,
Mhm.
those poor things are struggling. And I don't know. I'm sure you saw after the last tournament you heard about that 35-pound striper that they found floating around in the middle.
At San V? No,
Yeah,
I
Yes.
hadn't heard that.
35
almost
pound
36
striper.
pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Everybody,
That
I've
was
talked about it. Obviously Leroy caught that one that was 22 pounds a few years ago, and we've talked about it in the store and some other people, which is be a great question for Matt Lucero also coming up. But there's like a population of striper in there. They can't breed.
Yeah.
So so stripers have to have moving water to breed, right? To spawn.
Yeah.
I think that's the deal.
I think so.
I think they're very similar to trout in that
Yeah.
way.
Like they have to have moving water. Like when it's time for them to spawn, they go up into the rivers. I know white bass do. And then they go up into the river and spawn in the rivers. And I mean, they do in the ocean, like San Francisco Bay. They run up at spawning time. They run up into the Sacramento River and they run up into San Joaquin. That's what they do to go spawn. That's why they start catching them up in the rivers. So yeah, so there's no water coming into San Vicente,
There's the aqueduct, but I mean, are they going to get
but
up
it's
there
not
in
permanent.
that 8 feet of water? Right.
Yeah, it's not a consistent river coming in. So
Yeah.
There has to be some way though, because there was a night tournament. It was the El Cajon Ford night tournament. It's probably 7 years ago now, and a guy caught one that was super emaciated, but it was probably 3 or 4 pounds, or like if it was fat, it would have been that much. So there's got to be a way they're
okay.
doing it, unless they come in through the pipes.
So they got to come in through the pipes because they started buying water not from the Colorado River, which they could get from, or they came from up north in the California Canal, a California aqueduct.
Yeah.
So either way, they could have come in.
I was
That's
just a 35 pounder, but I just can't believe like
Paris has them.
nobody's caught one of that size on rod and reel.
So that's the weird part to me. Like San Vicente is only so big. Why
Yeah.
why you're telling me that fish hasn't seen that many A-rigs that he didn't bite? Like this
Yeah.
Or he did, and people just got so tooled by it they thought it was one of those big blue caps or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they fight hard, but
They give up quick.
yeah.
You would think on if with proper A-rig tackle, you'd have a good shot.
Yeah, 20-pound. Oh, piece of cake.
Yeah.
I guess there's crappie in there too. I've heard of them. I haven't seen one.
I've never caught one. Not
Yeah,
there.
I don't know. I have never caught one. I've never seen one in there, but probably
Yeah.
all those big bluegills. All I see.
Yeah. Yeah, those things are starting to be showing themselves pretty well too at Sandy right now.
Are
They're
they?
starting to suspend over the treetops. You'll come into pockets and you find those things. There's a lot of bigger bass swimming around right now. I'll share that much information. I was
Save that for the juice.
one of the other areas that would have been one of our options for that tournament. Had some very interesting stuff going on with bluegill. I just sat and watched them for a while and saw what they're. So, if you can effectively fish a bluegill bait in a little bit deeper water, you can probably figure something out with that. I was watching them. I was watching them corral them and push them and stay in the trees, push them off to the brush piles, and there's stuff happening. There's big fish too, good ones. So
yeah.
Maybe, just maybe, if you're a swim bait guy with
Butch
bluegill.
Brown is coming out with a bluegill swim bait.
Really?
Is he?
Yeah, yeah. There's been some demo models out, some prototypes that have been fished here the last couple months, and they're pretty good.
Really?
That's all I can say, I guess. They've been catching them on them. They've been catching them on them,
I
you
bet.
know, like so. But nobody, there's only a couple, 1, 2 guys have them right now
I
down
feel like
here.
it's a pretty hard one to imitate. Bluegill respond like the way they move, it's different than a trout. Trout swim in one direction, bluegills spin around, do different stuff. I feel like
Yeah, yeah,
once that's discovered, it's going to be a pretty deadly way to catch big ones.
yeah.
Yeah, true. Because I mean, there's bluegill glide baits are still a glide bait at the end of the day. I mean, it's just with a
Mhm.
blue profile. And bluegill don't do that. They don't swim like that. I've never seen one do
Right,
this.
right.
See them go
Yeah,
up and down, or flutter.
stationary and darting.
Move their pectoral
Yep.
fins, and hover and go down, or get kind of almost vertical or nose down, but they don't really do that. So
Right.
I don't know. Somebody could figure out a way to make one just hover.
Yeah, I think so.
Some find a way to fish like a bluegill minnow, something like that.
Yeah,
Do
yeah,
that, but it's hard. We've tried. We can't figure it out. Nothing looks
yeah.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're not bait
Right.
makers, so maybe bait maker will hear this and put some more time and effort into that.
Come out with a jig minnow bluegill.
Yeah, telling
Not
you.
a bad idea. If you get to
Hmm.
fish it almost
Here we are.
vertically.
We saw a very, very large one on live eat a bluegill at Otay last year. Like, we watched it happen on live. It
Really?
was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Yeah.
We saw
Yeah.
the blimp come up, and there was 3 bluegill on the live, and it swam through, and there was one after it was all said and done. And it was, I mean, it was a giant. Like, we were looking at each other like, did that really just happen on live imaging? And it 100% did. That thing went up and it ate. It was a giant too. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know if it was 10, 15, however big it was, but you watched it all happen right there, like live.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It was just a weird, like, we were just watching this blob just moving with authority through the water column. We're like, that's not a catfish and that's not a carp. That's a bass. And it went right for those bluegill that were suspending and just
Mhm.
made quick work of 2 of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Boom, boom, right through them. Then there was just one. And the one was just like, like, what happened? Like, it didn't even barely react. It was just like, I don't know. It's just such a big fish can be such a stealthy predator. It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But it knew exactly where those things were in the water column and just came up and smoked them without
yeah.
them even.
Oh yeah, yeah. Their perception is way. They perceive a lot more than what we think they do. Just
Yep.
like the 20 casting and into muddy water and watching that fish come up 20 feet
Yeah.
for a jig minnow, and so yeah, they perceive a lot.
They're
Yeah, it's like,
masters of their domain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
how many one-eye bass do you catch when you're like burning a crankbait or a chatterbait or something, and you're like, how could he even track that thing and catch it with one eye? Like, they're just using every other sense that they have along with
Yeah.
their really good eye. And like,
Yeah.
they're still healthy, they're still thriving,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
they're incredible creatures.
Yep.
We don't give them as much credit as they deserve for being able to survive in the situations that they do.
Right.
Agreed.
Alrighty, boys. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us. It's always
Yeah,
fun.
Thank you, Bruce. It was,
Thank you.
a pleasure as
Thanks
always. Love talking to you. So,
for giving me the phone call there, John. And
course.
I guess we'll we'll cut it off here and we'll see you next time. Congratulations
Sounds good.
again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
You're
All
welcome.
right, we'll talk soon. See you on
Okay.
Saturday.
See you guys on Saturday.
All right.
All
See ya.
right, bye.